piled high outside the Metrodome here in Minneapolis as the Green Bay Packers get set to play the Minnesota Vikings. The weather indoors is always perfect, and it is one more time today. Hi, I'm Pat Summerall with John Madden. And John, the papers say, and almost everyone else says, this is a meaningless contest. Nobody thinks it should be played. Someone said, in fact, they should choose up sides and play in a parking lot at 8 o'clock in the morning. But meaningless is not a term you think of when you play this game.
Nah, I've always said there's a game to be played, let's get it on. And anytime I've talked to a great player and I say, what does this game mean? How do you do it? You're out of the playoffs. The guy always said, hey, look, there's only one way to play this game, and every time I go out on the field, that's the way I play it.
And particularly to one person today, it's not meaningless in any way. This is the last game for the head coach of the Vikings, Jerry Burns, who has announced his retirement, and we'll miss you. Here's the way he was introduced.
87 season. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Burnsy, Coach Jerry Burns.
He will forever be a coach. This may be his last day as the head coach of the Vikings, but after 41 years, he'll always be one. Lindy Infante's future with the Green Bay Packers as their head man is, I guess, somewhat in doubt, somewhat certainly questionable. Earlier today, John Madden, my colleague, had a chance to speak with the new general manager of the Packers, Ron Wolf, and here's what he had to say.
I made a commitment to Lindy Infante when I was named general manager that I would wait till the season was over. I would come in as an evaluation process and do that, and the evaluation process is continuing.
And then when's the evaluation process going to be over?
Very good question. It should be over after today's game.
So then whatever, you would probably make a decision and/or an announcement in the next week?
I want to do anything I want to do before Christmas.
That sounds like it's pretty imminent. The Packers kick off to the Vikings. Darren Nelson deep in the end zone, and he downs it there. Rich Gannon will run the machine for Minnesota. He has taken over, perhaps as their quarterback of the future. Up in front of him, a fine offensive line. Zimmerman, McDaniel, Kirk Loudermilk, Kalis, Irwin, and the tight end Steve Jordan headed for the Pro Bowl. Terry Allen, Herschel Walker will open at the running backs. Chris Carter and Anthony Carter, the wide receivers. 1st and 10, Minnesota at their own 20. Terry Allen split wide left, the two Carters to the right. Herschel Walker, the lone setback behind Gannon. And Herschel gets the carry. He got about 3 before he's knocked backwards. The Packer defense. They were insulted somewhat by the comments of the Vikings after they beat them earlier this year. Brock, Tuaolo, Robert Brown up front. Scott Stephen, Noble, Holland, and Bennett. There was doubt about Holland, but he's starting. Holmes, Butler, the corners. Chuck Cecil and Mark Murphy, the deep backs, although they don't always stay deep. Walker is split out this time, and Allen remains the lone running back. Here's Gannon back to put it up to Walker. Off his hands, off the defender, Murphy, and incomplete.
Yeah, when you talk about a quarterback drilling a ball to the receiver, I think Rich Gannon just drilled Herschel Walker. I think that ball hit him right in the head. What says it's going to go right through and doink him right in the face mask. Look at that, it hit him right there.
Hit him so hard in the head he had to come out of the game.
I know. Well, you have to clear your sinuses out, and he didn't even get his hands up until after the ball hit him in the head.
3rd and 7. Hassan Jones now in the core of wide receivers for Minnesota as they go with 3. Darren Nelson in the backfield. Here's Gannon back to throw it, and Doug. Chris Carter. Fumble, and the Packers come up with it. Jerry Holmes. Randall McDaniel finally got him down, but the Packers will take over in great shape.
That's the type of thing that the Packers were talking about. As you said, the last time they played, they were insulted by the Minnesota Vikings because the Vikings were able to run on them. And they said that they were going in this game, and they remembered that last one, and they were going to get after him defensively. He looked like he just laid it down. Yeah. He did. You see what he was trying to do? He was trying to reach it out to get the first down, and in reaching out, he just put the ball on the ground.
And they're going to hold things up to review it.
Yeah, that's one thing that Chris Carter did. You know, he always does some funny things with the ball. And I think this is one of them. Is the knee down? See, if the knee's down and the whistle blows before that ball goes out, it's not a fumble.
But in this case, the ground was not what caused the fumble or the artificial surface. It was his effort to get the first down, to stretch out.
Well, you know, they always have that term. The guy laid it on the carpet. Chris Carter literally laid the ball on the carpet. I don't think they have a rule for that one.
Play stands. Well, it should. Mike Tomczak, the quarterback, the former Bear who's found a home in Green Bay and has done an excellent job. Darrell Thompson, the lone setback. Woodside split out wide to the right. That's Thompson. Packers have been running the ball well of late. Out of bounds inside the 10 by Reggie Rutland. The Packers offensive line, Cheap Moran, James Camp in the center, Hallstrom, Keith Euchre opening at right tackle. In place of Mandarich, Ed West is the fine tight end. Woodside, Darrell Thompson, Kemp, and Sharp the wide receivers. 2nd and 5.
There's a guy who's had a heck of a year. 57 there, the left guard, Rich Moran.
Probably the best of any of the Packer offensive linemen. Thompson again hit in the backfield. First by Henry Thomas and Chris Dolman. Loss of 2. Here is the Minnesota defense. Randall, Clark, Thomas, and Dolman up front. The linebackers, Williams, Ray Berry in the middle, Merriweather on the outside, along the alternate linebackers who come in when they change defenses. Just beat him at the line of scrimmage. The Vikings just beat him at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I was just saying Rich Moran's done so well, and Thomas ran right by him.
3rd down. Tomczak hammered to the turf. Mike Mays on a blitz.
And he comes up there, no one sees him, you see, because you don't see 23 in there yet, and he's not counted for. See him coming right up the middle right there. He's the guy that gets Tomczak. If a defensive back is up, on, or around the line of scrimmage, he will be countable. They'll count him to block him. If he's back more than 5 yards, they don't count him. They didn't count Mays that time, so he wasn't blocked.
Chris Jackie will try. And it's good from 42 yards away, and the Packers go on top 3-0. 12:39 left to play in the first quarter here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. 3-0 the Packers. Earlier today, the Giants hung on to beat Houston 24-20. A game that had no implications for the Giants except to finish with at least a 500 record. But did have for Houston. They were looking for that week off. Now they have to wait and see. Darren Nelson back deep for Jackie's kickoff. Another good one, good high deep one. Chris Jackie but Nelson will bring it out of the end zone. Nelson out of the pack. He's got to beat Jackie. He did beat Jackie, but in evading him, someone came up from the outside. Charles Wilson.
Darren Nelson is still something. You know, you think of the guy, a 10-year veteran, but he can still break plays and make big plays. He stretches it to the outside, then he looks for that one lane. He finds a lane, now he's looking for the next one. He almost found the second lane there. If he gets through that second lane, that could have been a touchdown.
43 yards on the return by Darren Nelson. And the Vikings take over at their own 42. Walker and Anderson are the two setbacks this time. Gannon throws it away and out of bounds.
Good coverage by the Packers here. You know, on that blitz early, Pat, we'll see what happens. Here's two blockers here, and the back can block. That's three. Now what the Vikings are going to do is they're going to get four. They're going to get 4 on 3, and anytime that happens, you're going to have a guy free. Now watch what happens. If we stop it right here, we see they got 4 on 3. The free guy is going to be Mays there, so Tomczak doesn't have a chance. That's an overload. You overload one side and outnumber them by 1.
Walker split wide to the right on 2nd and 10. Packers go with an extra defensive back. Gannon to Terry Allen. Maybe he got 2. Stopped by the safety man Chuck Cecil, who's up in a hurry. They do a lot of things with those safety men.
Well, they're like extra linebackers too. You know, whether it's Chuck Cecil or it's Mark Murphy, both of them are real good tacklers and real tough guys. Cecil's not a big guy, but he's really a tough guy, and Murphy is a pretty big guy and a tough guy, very consistent player. He plays around the line of scrimmage a lot.
Packers go with 6 defensive backs. Darren Nelson in the backfield, and Gannon to Steve Jordan. First down, Minnesota. 12-yard gain. Burnell Dent brought him down.
Yeah, Steve Jordan has a bad neck. He has a pinched nerve in his neck. Didn't practice all week, including yesterday. Jerry Burns wasn't sure if he was going to play, but when we talked to Steve Jordan, there was no doubt that he was going to play.
He's one of Jerry Burns' favorites.
You know, and he's one of those guys that you say, hey, you know, how do you get up for a meaningless game? And he said there's no such thing. There's only one way to play, and I totally agree with that.
Headed for the Pro Bowl, one of the 2 Vikings. McDaniel the other. Gannon back to throw it. Had a screen pass almost set up. Intended for Anderson, but the Packers applied the pressure.
Someone must have held Anderson up because he didn't get out there. When Rich Gannon threw that screen, there were just 3 blockers out there. And the only guy he threw it to were the back ends of 3 big old linemen.
That's not a good target.
Well, it's a big target. It's not a good one, because if you hit one of those big old back ends, it's a penalty.
Walker is split out wide to the right this time. Carter and Hassan Jones to the left.
Got a 9 Berry coming up.
One of those listen to me. And the pass incomplete. Intended for Anthony Carter, broken up by Leroy Butler.
I mean, here you see he rolled out there and he's throwing that out. Just didn't get it out to Carter. You would think if you're going to audibilize to a 9 Berry that you really saw something, and you think that you'd have guys more open than that. I don't like the 9 Berry there. If the 9 Berry meant go up deep, I think that would have been a better shot than go out.
Maybe the berries are not ripe yet.
Oh, 9 Berry. Put that one in the can.
Has his pass picked off by Chuck Cecil. Flag on the play, and Cecil down inside Minnesota territory with a flag way back at the Packer 30.
Hey, that's a second pass in this series that Gannon threw, and there was no receiver there.
Chris Carter was the intended receiver.
And I think he was probably pulled down by Jerry Holmes, and that's why the ball's going to come back. That's why there was no receiver there. I think Jerry Holmes got a hold of Chris Carter before the ball got there. Gannon saw it, threw it anyway. Chuck Cecil ended up with it.
Number 44 on the defense. 5 yards, automatic first down.
Stan Kemp is the referee.
And we're going to see it right here. And again, Jerry Holmes is number 44. You see they start in there. Now he's going to start in for the post, and he got knocked down right there when he went to the inside. And that's why there was no receiver there, because Holmes knocked him down.
So it's a first down, third down rather. Vikings. First down. Now they just changed it. This is Allen. Out of bounds at about the 35 by Brian Noble and Murphy.
You know, an interesting thing Jerry Burns said yesterday, we're talking about Terry Allen, number 21 here, and he says he's the best back on the team. And he wasn't talking about Herschel Walker or saying that, you know, Herschel Walker isn't this or anything. There's been so much talk about Herschel Walker, it was just out of the clear blue. He was talking about Terry Allen. He says he's our best running back.
He is the deep back in this situation. Second down. He gets the carry again. Allen stopped by Murphy. He sat out the entire year last year with a knee injury. 9th round draft choice. He would have undoubtedly been a lot higher if it hadn't been for that injured knee.
Because he really has talent. I mean, you see how quickly he got out to that side. You know, one thing about the Packers, it's tough to get outside of their defense because they play that run down the line pursuit. The other thing is they're playing very tough on that right side, the Vikings left side, because that's where they hurt them so much the last game.
3rd and 2. This time the back is Darren Nelson. Gannon for Chris Carter. Incomplete. Jerry Holmes was there.
You know, yesterday when we were out here at practice, that was the one they were practicing all day, that Gannon was throwing that to Chris Carter when they got down there around the 30-yard line, that quick up, they call it. And they were timing that thing out. They worked on it by themselves. They worked on it in team, and you knew that that's a big part of today's game plan.
Wad Reves will try to tie the score from 49 yards away. Newsom is the holder. It's got plenty of foot, but he pulled it. That would have been good from 10 yards further out, but it was just not straight enough.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation, proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. Head and Shoulders, because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And by McDonald's, getting more for your money. That's McDonald's today.
Pat Summerall, John Madden, the Packers and the Vikings. 1st and 10, Green Bay on their own 32. Disappointing year up to this point for both of these clubs. Tomczak gets it out to Thompson. Run out of bounds by McMillan.
There's a guy that'll be around for another year. Big old Tim Irwin, number 76. Been a tackle in this league for 11 years. He's a lawyer. And yeah, I think that we ought to talk more about the Tim Irwins of the league and the
Steve Jordan,
who's an engineer, works in the off season as an engineer, and there's a lot of guys that do a lot of things with their careers. They play well, and then in the off season they get an education, they have another career after that, and sometimes we hear so much about the negative things that we don't hear enough about the Jordans and the Irwins and the Bart Oates and the Giants, who's also an attorney. And you guys remember the 49ers had the tight end who's a doctor now, and stuff like that.
There are so many positive things. Second down, Tomczak to throw it again. Jackie Harris, a gain of 7 and a first down for Green Bay.
Tomczak's not wearing that eyeshadow today. There's the offensive lineman there over there talking about that. He wore eyeshadow last week. I said, when'd you wear the eyeshadow? It was like 10 degrees up in Green Bay. And he says, I do anything to make myself look older. Magic's wearing it. See, that's why they wear it there to look older. He said he wants the linemen and stuff to think he's older.
But
he's 18.
He doesn't want to look tough, he said. Because if he looks tough, they'll hit him harder.
That's right.
Woodside was the ball carrier, picked up 2.
So he likes that clean look.
The guy's been around a while too. Ken Clark, after so many years with the Eagles. Filled in the shoes of Keith Millard after Millard was hurt.
And that's the thing that's really hurt this Minnesota team. I mean, if you could say one person or one player over the years that had to be losing Keith Millard really for the last 2 years.
Flag on the play. Tomczak has the pass incomplete. Intended for a Sharp like Merriweather.
Yeah, I think you take Millard, who was a dominant player, take him out of there. Now they could really do things to Chris Dolman, who's a good pass rusher, like they did that last play. You can always put a couple of guys on Dolman. When Millard was right next to him, you couldn't do that. And then they'd really get after you on defense. They can't get after you anymore.
Offside, number 99 on the defense. 5 yards, still second down.
When they were together, it made them both more effective.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Millard was just a slashing guy. He would get in that middle and take off, and he would make not only Chris Dolman better, but he made Henry Thomas better, and he made that guy right there, Al Noga, better.
Sure did.
Just look at how their sacks have gone down each year.
Second down. 83 yards. They won't have that. They only got one. Woodside, the ball carrier, stopped by Al Noga.
You know, Joey Browner hasn't had the year that is a typical Joey Browner year. One problem, he has hamstring problems. You see that right leg? You see, he got some kind of special thing in there that I've never seen a bandage like that before. But looks like you just put it around the whole hamstring, and then you have a little left over for a big old button or something you push.
Maybe a heating pad or something. Here's Tomczak from the spread. Gets the ball to Sterling Sharp. Merriweather made the stop. Sharp, who hasn't practiced for the last 3 weeks because of a bad knee, but when Sunday comes, he plays.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that really enjoy playing, one of the best players in the league. He's looking for 55 yards today. He needs 55 yards, and he just got 8. 55 will put him over the 1,000.
Sharp wide to the left this time. Thompson is the deep back behind Tomczak. He'll get the carry. Breaks into the Vikings secondary, first down. That's Woodside. Sorry.
That's one thing the Packers have been doing a little better the last couple of weeks. Watch this block, and boom, the center takes off the guard. They double team the nose tackle, get a pretty good block there on Thomas. Boom, that springs a hole for Woodside. Offensive linemen love that. These Packer linemen, they've always been pass protectors, and when they get a chance to run block, they just love to do that.
First and 10 at the Viking 28. It's Woodside again. Inside the 25. Stopped by Dolman. He got 5 yards nevertheless.
You see Chris Dolman on that play, Pat. He raised his play another notch. Defensive guys, they really have pride, and they have pride. They don't like anyone to move the ball against them, especially on the ground. I think Woodside got that first run, and Dolman said, hey, enough of that. And he really came off that soft corner. He flattened out and made that tackle. He came off that corner like he was shot out of a gun.
Second and 4. Jackie Harris is the man in motion. Here's Tomczak. To Harris. First down, Green Bay, stopped by Berry.
Sounds like there's a lot of Packer fans here today. Watch, Harris starts on the left, bring him in motion across the formation, then they put him right back in the middle. That's usually where a tight end works, is in the middle, right between the numbers. Harris started on the left, boom, goes to the right, and then works back to the middle. Against any zone defense, that's usually the guy that's open most of the time.
The Green Bay Packers leading 3-0 and heading for more.
Hey, there's a look from the blimp. Look, we're looking down at it from up there, a blimp.
An indoor blimp.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Never. Incomplete, intended for Sharp. McMillan, the defender.
Look at this. I never thought, that's one thing I didn't like about indoor stadiums. You can never get a blimp. And I said that, look, right up here is a blimp. See the blimp up there? And then inside the blimp is a camera. See, the whole blimp you don't use, but the camera, if you look right here, there's the deal. Then if you look right there, there's the camera. See, here's a blimp, here's the stuff that holds it, and there's the camera. So we can look down, not miss a thing, not miss a play here.
That's Woodside again. There's nothing inside the blimp?
No. There's nothing inside. There's no people.
What
no
keeps
mice.
it up there?
That's a good question. I don't know how it gets. I think air. I think you put like helium or something, and then that just lifts it up there. And then it got things, ropes and stuff to what they call tether it. It could move.
It could.
Yeah, the blimp, but we're not going to because we got it what we call tethered.
Good for you.
Tethered?
Tomczak, touchdown Green Bay to Vince Workman. Noga hit Tomczak just as he let it go. 12-yard touchdown pass.
And on this drive, the Packers have had good success throwing right down the middle. Watch Workman. He comes, swings out of the backfield, then he goes right in that middle, right in that same area that they had hit Harris earlier. See, they cleaned out the area, and then by the time Woodside got there was nothing there.
Tomczak will hold for Chris Jackie's extra point attempt, which is good. And the Packers lead it 10-0. Touchdown pass, Tomczak to Workman.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Big game tomorrow featuring two teams making a return to the playoffs after a prolonged absence, Atlanta and Dallas. Jerry Glanville's Falcons are back in the playoffs for the first time since 1982, and they've gotten there on the strength of Chris Miller's arm and his explosive core of receivers. A Falcon victory tomorrow gives them a division title for the first time since 1980. Falcons and the Cowboys tomorrow on CBS. There's Vince Workman, who just scored the touchdown for Green Bay to put them ahead 10-0. Jackie's kickoff again is deep into the end zone. Darren Nelson will leave it there. Flag on the play. Tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time, don't forget the NFL today. Join Greg, Terry, Leslie, and Pat for the complete playoff report. Plus, they'll check into stadiums around the country and all the latest news and information. Could be a record year for replacing NFL head coaches. And they'll have a roundtable discussion on who's going and who's coming. Plus, Pat O'Brien looks back at the NFL season in review. That's tomorrow at 12:30 here on CBS.
Well, we know here, Pat, that we got at least one that's going. That's Jerry Burns. He's already announced his retirement. The other one, Ron Wolf said before the game he's going to know before Christmas. So I think that announcement will either come on either after the game today or tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday, because that's the only time you have left.
That's all we got left,
Christmas.
yes. We lost track of the days. It's imminent.
Yeah, you start doing Thanksgiving and then Sunday, and then the next thing you know, it's Christmas. You're not sure which day it is. And you've got a wild card game, and you don't know where that's going to be because you don't know who's going to be in it yet.
Lindy and Fonte talking with his quarterback, Mike Tomczak. 1st and 10, and completion from Gannon to Hassan Jones. This is Terry Allen. He got 5 yards, stopped by Matt Brock. There's Keith Millard. We were talking about him a minute ago. Injured his knee, had it operated on, injured it again, had it operated on again. This time he said, I think I got it done right.
Yeah, he said it was done right, that he feels great, and that he's going to be ready. He didn't even say training camp or next season. He said, I'm going to be ready to go for mini camp. And like I said earlier, if this team, this Viking team, has missed anything that has hurt him the most, it's that guy right there, Keith Millard.
2nd and 5 is Rich Gannon. He's the quarterback from Minnesota. Certainly today, maybe in the future. Going deep for Hassan Jones. Covered by Jerry Holmes. Packers blitzed him.
You see, they did blitz him, but he had plenty of time to throw this one. See, he was going to pump it and then throw it. He got that ball off. And, of course, you say plenty of time. The guy's right there. But the getting the ball off was not the problem. It was just that he had a little too much on it. You know, everyone thinks of a touch. You always think of a short pass, but you also have to have a touch with a deep pass. No one has a better deep pass touch than Mark Rypien of the Washington Redskins.
That's what Joe Gibbs was telling us last week. He didn't throw it that far, but he gets it there. Here's Gannon, incomplete. Intended for Chris Carter. Covered once again by Jerry Holmes.
Gannon made a couple of bad throws there. I mean, he could have, again, he was rushed on the 2nd down and 3rd down. That was just a bad throw. And I think the Packers are playing a little better defense than the Vikings expected, and I think they're playing with a little more intensity. The Packer defense has a little more intensity than the Viking offense does.
Here's a guy who's had a good year. Jeff Query back deep for Newsom's punt. It's a dandy. I think he surprised a lot of people by not taking the wide side of the field, but he's knocked out of bounds at any rate by Solomon Wilcott. 10-0 Green Bay. The Metrodome in Minneapolis. The Packers leading the Minnesota Vikings 10-0. We're in the first quarter, 1:27 left. Pat Summerall here with John Madden. Meaningless, that's the word I hate. Everything has some meaning.
Well, yeah, like, you know, there's a game to be played, and if you're a football player, you go out and play it. And if you're going to play it, there's only one way to play it. It's the only way you know how to play it. You're one of these linemen, you get down there, boom, the ball snap, you whack each other.
Tomczak to throw, and to Perry Kemp. 4-yard gain stopped by McMillan.
I'll tell you, Tomczak's doing pretty well here. You know, he was on that touchdown drive just before. He was 5 out of 6 on the touchdown, and there he starts off 1 for 1. He has these Vikings back on their heels there. You know, and Mike Tomczak is a streak passer. I mean, he'll go I mean, he's capable of going 12 out of 12, and then he's capable of going 0 for 12 also.
But if he gets hot, he stays hot. Yeah, he'll cut you to pieces. Darrell Thompson hit in the backfield, a loss of 1 by Ken Clark.
Ken Clark's going to get a little penetration there, and anytime you get penetration from the tackles, from one of those inside guys, then they're going to have trouble. Watch that. Ken Clark just splits a double team right there. They started off, they were going to double team him. Boom, he comes right between them.
That'll bring up 3rd and 7. Green Bay leading 10-0. This could be the last play of the opening quarter. And indeed it is. That's the end of the first quarter. With the score, Green Bay 10, Minnesota nothing. The beginning of the second quarter with Green Bay leading Minnesota. Is Keith Millard along with his teammate, I guess you'd say.
Greg Minuski. Those are two of a kind. You know, you talk about wild guys with a crazy look in their eyes and they're just old, tough football player type guys. There were 2 of them right there.
They don't need a business card. Zach just did get rid of it. It was almost intercepted by Merriweather. Merriweather put the pressure on Tom Zach.
That was Al Noga dropped off. Merriweather came. Al Noga, the defensive end, dropped off.
First quarter statistics. Packers 5 first downs. Had the ball 8 minutes and 50 seconds. More importantly, they lead 10-0. 1 turnover led to 3 of those points. Leo Lewis back deep for McJulian's punt. And it's a dandy. Lewis signals fair catch and makes it at the Viking 32. So Minnesota takes over there, trailing 10-0 after a 46-yard punt.
Let's watch his last blitz. Here's Al Noga. He starts up, then he backs out. Merriweather's here like the linebacker. He blitzes along with the corner. Now watch Noga, 999. He'll start, then he stops, and he runs back. Now Merriweather puts the pressure on him, and on the other end, Noga, the defensive end, knocks the ball down. You'd think, hey, that ought to be just the opposite. Noga should be rushing the passer, and Merriweather should be knocking the ball down.
Walker is deep behind Gannon. 1st and 10 Minnesota at their own 32. Off to Anderson and nothing doing there. Burnell Dent. The stop for the Packers.
Now, that's one thing the Packers came into this game. You know, you have to realize the Minnesota Vikings are the leading rushing team in the NFC. And they really ran the ball well against the Packers last time. So the Packer defense came into this game with one thing. They are going to stop the run, generally, specifically the run to their right side, down here to the right of the screen.
Hassan Jones on the move. Gannon back to throw. Steve Jordan past midfield, a pickup of 17. Stopped by Dent again.
That's the old bootleg and throwback. Watch this. Gannon is going to bootleg to his left, and then Jordan is going to come around from his right. So it's a bootleg left, throw to the tight end coming across from the right side. Hey, that old bootleg, there's a lot of NFL teams that made a living on that play.
For a long time.
For a long time. That's a tough one to defend.
1st and 10 Minnesota, just across the 50. Handoff is to Walker. Herschel. Finally brought down, led by Mitchell and Bennett. but it took a bunch.
Well, it always takes a bunch with Herschel because he's so strong, and then all those shoulder pads that he has on, you see, he turns when he goes in there. So you never get anything good to hit. All you get is a pad. Watch him. He'll go in there straight, and now see how he turns? Now you have to hit his back and stuff, and those are all pads. Everything he has there from his waist up is pad. And the pad is plastic, and if you don't get it wrapped properly, you'll bounce off it.
2nd and 6, Walker again. Not much this time. Leroy Butler was the first man to hit him. And a loss.
That's always been the way to stop Herschel Walker, is to keep him going laterally. Keep him going right and left. Don't let him get his shoulders turned. You see, he had his shoulders perpendicular to the line of scrimmage the whole time. Where Herschel Walker is tough is when his shoulders are square to the line of scrimmage. I'd like to see that out of a blimp, the squareness and the perpendicular to the line.
It's a good idea. Got to turn the blimp around.
Yeah, perpendicular's bad, square is good in a runner.
Took a timeout. The Packers lead Minnesota 10-0 in the 2nd quarter. Green Bay 10, Minnesota nothing. 2nd quarter, 11:44 left. That's the playoff picture as it stands at the moment. Washington, Chicago, Atlanta, New Orleans, Detroit, and Dallas have clinched playoff berths. In the AFC, it's Buffalo, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, and the Raiders. Tomorrow's Miami Jet winner clinches the final berth in the playoffs in the AFC. Where they play is what has not been settled yet.
And the Raiders and Kansas City are playing each other this week just for that. The winner plays at home against the same team the next week.
Gannon just does get rid of it, but he does to Carter. First down inside the 35. A pickup of 13, stopped by Vince Clark.
Yeah, Anthony Carter's always been one of the big play guys in this league. I'm not sure if he still has that speed and that elusiveness that he once had, but anytime that he gets his hands on the ball, he's capable of making a big play. Now, a speed guy can go deep or he can go across. Here he's going across, but he's going under control. Then once he catches the ball, he tried to turn the speed on.
He was limping noticeably in practice yesterday. That play looked pretty good. Screen pass to Walker. Walker taken down after a pickup of a couple by Dent and Mitchell.
Yeah, you got a pretty good block by his center, Kirk Loudermilk, out there. Number 63, I think he's one of the best centers in the league. Jay Hilgenberg at Pittsburgh, and this guy here, Kirk Loudermilk. He's a guy that is really a scrap. I mean, he blocks on the line of scrimmage, then he goes downfield, and you talk about who's the fiery leader of this Viking offense. It's always been Kirk Loudermilk, and the Vikings probably need a few more Loudermilks.
Anderson this time is the lone setback. Jones is the man in motion. Gannon tried to get it back. Arm started forward. They're going to call it an incomplete pass. The protection broke down. The two of the Packers were looking in his face.
Well, Gannon's mad at someone on the sideline. He's arguing with some call or something, but that was his fault. He went to throw that ball, and then I think he made a decision to try and hold it. It just went into the carpet. But he's mad at the play calling. But here, again, it's that bootleg. He's looking again for the guy coming across, and then he goes to throw it, then tries to hold it back, and that's very close to a fumble. And that's what Gannon's thinking. See him going after that? He thought that was a fumble.
Sure. 3rd and 8. This time the protection holds up, but the receiver can't hold the ball. Steve Jordan got jolted by Pernell Dent.
The other guy's Jerry Holmes out there, and Holmes, there's not a lot to him. He's been around this league for a long time and has always been known to have the skinniest legs in the league. Number 44, but watch him come in here and put the hit on Jordan. Jordan catches it right there, and there's number 44. And you say, where does his power come from? I don't know where it comes from, but I'll tell you where it doesn't come from. It doesn't come from his calves, because they have a hard time holding his socks up.
Revay, 50 yards. This time it's wide right. The first one was wide left from 49. And it's still 10-0 Green Bay. Two playoff-bound teams go at it tomorrow afternoon as defending AFC champion Buffalo plays host to the rejuvenated Detroit Lions. Barry Sanders is perhaps the main reason the Lions are back in the playoffs for the first time since 1983. Tomorrow he looks to nail down his second NFL rushing title. The Lions, Barry Sanders, and the Bills tomorrow here on CBS.
And happy holidays. I think if there's been two surprise teams to me this year, it's been Dallas and Detroit.
Without question. Atlanta, perhaps.
I think Mike Tomczak is hurt. Lindy Infante said last night he didn't want to have to play Don Majkowski, but if something happened to Tomczak, he would play him. Majkowski, we talked to him, he said he would rather not have to play because he thinks the rest has done his shoulder well.
Something happened to Tezak, who was 6 out of 9 for 45 yards, the one touchdown pass.
Watch what happened to Mike Tomczak. Here's Jimmy Williams. Here's Chris Dolman here. They both come on a blitz and meet right at the quarterback, and they sandwich Mike Tomczak. Just watch them. They come from the left, they come from the right, and boom, they meet right there.
Tomczak walked off the field, but Majkowski's the quarterback. The handoff is to Woodside. Here's Mike Tomczak. Al Noga made the stop. Here's the hit again.
It looks like they're checking his ribs. You see when he throws his right hand, you see how exposed he is there? It looks like Dolman got him right under his left arm. Like Dolman got his helmet right on Tomczak's ribs. And Tomczak was padded there. It's not like he's not wearing either long shoulder pads and or rib pads, because he is.
3rd and 9. Workman back with Majkowski. He has to come out of the pocket. Ball is loose, and the Vikings come up with it, but a flag on the play.
And I think the flag is going to be against the guy who made the play. Al Noga made a great play. It was a great play. He comes all the way behind Majkowski and catches him, but he was also the guy who jumped offside. I'll tell you what, here's Noga, 99. Watch him dive, reach his arm out there, and strip the ball from Majkowski. That is a great effort by Al Noga. But he was also the guy who jumped off sides, so the great effort won't count.
Offsides, number 99 on the defense, 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
That's Al Noga.
Watch him, he's right down here at the bottom of the screen. See him? He's in the neutral zone right now. He doesn't get back. He almost got back. And they're checking Tomczak now. They're checking under his right side. See, he has his rib pads there. Sometimes you can get a hit or a jolt that goes right through the pads.
The Packers take a timeout. The last game on the sideline for that man is the head coach at Minnesota. What a delightful guy he is, Jerry Burns.
Yeah, Jerry Burns is a delightful guy, and Lindy Infante is a delightful guy, and I feel that it could be the last game for both of these guys with these teams.
Maybe you shouldn't be a delightful guy.
Well, maybe, you know, that's part of it. I'll tell you one thing about coaching. It's a lot easier to start off tough and lighten up than it is to lighten up and try and turn tough.
Did anyone ever describe you as being delightful when you were coaching?
I was always like described as like rumpled or something.
unmade bed or one of those things.
Yeah, look at Tomczak there. Now they're working on his left hand. And you see he has a plays on there too, so that's the wrist that he carries the plays on. And it looked like they checked his ribs. Initially they said it was his shoulder, and now they're checking his left wrist.
A lot of things to repair in it. Makowski gets the pass out to Workman and completed out of bounds at the Viking 45. Run out by Merriweather.
You know, one thing about this game here, there's a lot of Packer fans here, and when the Packers make a play, you can hear them all yell. Again, I don't think Don Makowski expected to play today. Lindy Infante really hoped that he didn't have to play. Makowski said he thought the shoulder was all right, but the hamstring was bothering him. He just can't run straight ahead.
There's a look at some of those Packer fans. First down, Green Bay at the Minnesota 45. Makowski back to Thompson. And he might have lost a yard. Again by Merriweather with an assist from Dolman. Murphy still checking on his ankle.
I think they did a tape job, you see, on that right ankle, and usually you can tell they tape it right over the shoe to see if that can help him out. Murphy came out of the last series, and he's been testing it ever since, and it doesn't look like it's responding to that tape job they put on it.
By the way, the word on Tomczak is that he has bruised ribs and should be able to return if need be. Makowski, the Green Bay quarterback. Back to throw. Pass for Jackie Harris, incomplete.
You know, Terry Bradshaw was talking on the pregame show today about Makowski, that said he talked to him last night and he felt that he came back too soon. He had rotator cuff surgery and then tried to come back and go to training camp and tried to throw too soon, and he really wasn't ready. And then that old magic never came back. It went away somewhere in the surgery. And then he got the knee or hamstring, and Tomczak's been playing, and as Makowski told us last night, at least the leg being hurt let the shoulder heal.
And he's had time to rest that arm. Flag on the play as Makowski heads deep for Kemp. On a penalty marker down. Scott.
Now, there's two penalties. The first one came and it could have been offside or something. Then the second one came later, and that has to be against hitting Makowski late. But there was one before the late hit. There was a first flag before the late hit. So it's illegal motion against the Packers, an illegal hit against, or late hit against the Vikings.
That's the umpire, Art Demas, talking with...
Illegal motion on the offense. Personal foul, roughing the passer. On the defense, the 5-yard penalty in this case is ignored, and by rule, the 15-yard penalty is enforced. First down.
Not popular in Minnesota.
Now, I thought that was a good rule, though, because just because the offense goes illegally in motion, that doesn't give you the right to go after a quarterback. That's what happens. You see, he throws there, the ball's gone, and he gets hit right there. So I think that's what the penalty's for, because if they didn't do it that way, then the minute someone went in motion, you just go boom and just knock their quarterback out.
You get a
and then
free
it would
shot.
Be, yeah, it'd be offsetting penalty. So there are no free cheap shots.
First and 10, Green Bay at the Minnesota 32. Sharp comes out. There's the widest to the right. Makowski to Thompson. Not much. Henry Thomas, the first man to hit him.
Watch him. They're going to run in here to the left side. 97. is Thomas. He does a good job. Moran blocks him to the outside. Thought he had a block. Thomas was able to go around, get knocked outside, and then come back in the backside of Moran.
That was not a bad block.
No, it was a good block. It was a heck of a play by Henry Thomas. Henry Thomas has always been one of the more underrated defensive linemen in this league. And he's really a better nose tackle than he is playing now what they call under tackle, which means over the guard.
2nd and 10, Mikowski picks. Pass incomplete, but another flag is intended for Ed West. The flag goes down.
And Ed West didn't catch a pass, and he jumped up pointing. Henry Thomas ended up where defensive linemen shouldn't end up.
Sitting. The indication by the Packers is that it's against Minnesota, and it probably is.
Well, and it had to be against Ed West.
Illegal use of hands. Number 56 on the defense, grasping the face mask of someone other than a runner. First down.
Grasping the face mask of someone other than a runner.
Well, that's Chris Dolman up on top, and he has to be grabbing the face mask right there of the pass receiver coming out of the backfield. That's what it was.
Grabbed Jackie Harris, I think.
Let's watch Richard Moran there. They get a good double team. That's why Thomas ended up where you don't want to end up, the seat of his pants. I'll tell you, then they knocked someone over him. That was pretty good blocking.
Harris again, the man in motion. Another penalty marker now. This one's got to be against the Packers. Somebody in the offensive line moved too early.
But you know what Chris Dolman did on the play before is what every defensive lineman has taught him.
Start. Number 78 on the offense. Prior to the snap. 5 yards. Still first down.
And he's the guy who's blocking Chris Dolman, which is always a tough job. But Dolman, anytime some guy's running out for a pass, you're rushing a passer, you always take a swipe at him. They've been doing that in this league for 30 or 40 years. Dolman did it, he got caught. And on that last play, Cheek, who was trying to block Dolman, got caught.
They used to call it a clothesline, but they outlawed that. So now you just take a swipe at him.
Yeah, well, what Dolman did, he took a swipe and ended up with a handful of face masks.
Mikowski, who slipped as he let it go, caught by Woodside out of bounds. A gain of only 1.
Yeah, the Packers have always had a guy like Woodside who was the pass receiving back, and then a guy like Thompson who was the running back. And Woodside will be in the backfield, and he'll be a flanker and move all over the place, and that's how they get him open.
That was Blair Keel, who's the 3rd Packer quarterback, standing next to head coach Lindy Infante, signaling in the plays to Mikowski. Mikowski step up, and the pass is batted down.
I'll tell you, Dolman is too much for Cheek over there. Louis Cheek cannot block Chris Dolman by himself, and you're going to see it right on the right of the screen. Here, when he asked to block him by himself, he was supposed to get a little help from his back. He didn't get any help. And Dolman has that speed where he can just take that speed rush. You see him come around the corner. 39 is too late to help. He goes right by Cheek. And watch him. He just grabs and gets that hand in there as Mikowski's going forward. Again, is the arm going forward?
Seems like that number, 56. Whoever wears it is a good pass rusher.
What comes first? Lawrence Taylor comes first. He's 56, and everyone wants to be like Lawrence Taylor, especially if you're going to be a pass rusher. Sure, they're looking at that one to see if Mikowski's arm was going forward. When Dolman hits him, it wasn't going forward. It's a fumble.
Lindy Infante looks aghast. Well, his arm did go forward, but I'm not sure he had the ball when it started forward.
Well, then it hit a Viking in the helmet, and the funny thing about it is no one recovered the ball. So you wonder who gets the ball. You know who we saw in the booth talking about replays and officiating, and was the retired head of officials, stopped in to say hello to us, Art McNally.
I think that was he.
I think he's up there in the booth.
That we just saw. That's not him.
Yeah, see, no one recovered it. They're gonna rule it a fumble and put it at the spot of the ball, at the spot of the fumble, at the spot of the hit, I would imagine.
So they're calling that a fumble.
Yeah, what they're saying is that Mikowski's arm wasn't going forward. You know, Dolman hits it there. Now the funny thing is, no one picked it up. They just let the ball go. Of course, the whistle blew.
But his arm was going forward. But the ball was loose. They run the draw play to Workman, who gets down to about the 27-yard line, and that'll bring up another field goal attempt by Chris Jackie.
See, that's why you always jump on the ball, because you never know. What they said was it was a fumble, but there's no way that Minnesota could have recovered it.
Tom Zach back out to hold for Chris Jackie. This one from 47 yards. And Jackie will be good again. No. He pulled it left at the last second. Plenty of distance. It just kept hooking. During Super Bowl week here in Minneapolis, you fans will have the opportunity. You had to run it back, didn't you?
But, yeah, I wanted to see that form. That was great form. The arms were out and everything. I like that. Let's do more of that.
To Chris Carter. A pickup of 7, stopped by Brian Noble.
They got all these guys now that sneak up on it from the side. Don't wear football shoes. Yeah, there's that imaging they got. I mean, that's a 1991 coach. You got images in your front that you're reading. You got a headset on. People are talking to you. You got stuff stuffed in your back pocket. Those are other images.
That's 91.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they call them something image thing. I know. It used to be Polaroids. Now there's some kind of imaging.
Gannon intended for Darren Nelson, incomplete. Purnell Dent put the rush on Gannon.
Gannon is not having a type of day that a quarterback would want. He just can't get consistent. He can't keep things together. And then when they bog down and go for the field goal, they can't make the field goal. He's 7 out of 17, but he hasn't been able to keep anything going. And I guess that's why he's not keeping anything going, because he's 7 out of 17.
Query back deep for Newsom's punt. Out of bounds about the 35. We'll be back here for Super Bowl 26 once all the playoff games are settled. Back here in Minnesota. This will be the second one played in the cold climates. We did 16 in Detroit. But they have a festive week ahead here in Minneapolis.
You know, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun because of that. You go to these places like Miami, New Orleans, Los Angeles, you know, they're used to that. I think you come here to Minnesota, it's going to be snowing and cold, and everyone is going to try to make it a good experience for everyone, and I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl.
Mikowski is still the quarterback. This is Darrell Thompson. Whoever the AFC team is, the champion will stay in St. Paul at the Radisson and practice nearby at the University of Minnesota's indoor facility, the Bierman Building.
Yeah, if you look at these indoor facilities, they both look the same. This is what an indoor facility looks like. you can practice run, you can practice pass, but I'll tell you, I don't know what a punter does. Where's the guy punt the ball?
That's the one thing that they have a problem with in those buildings like that.
Yeah, so we don't know who the AFC team is. We know where they're going to stay, and we know where they're going to practice, and we looked it over. It looks okay.
Darrell Thompson again. In the meantime, the NFC team will stay at the Viking complex. The Radisson South will be where they sleep. Winter Park, the NFC practice site, the Viking emblem on the side of their indoor practice facility, which looks just like the other one.
I know. I think the same guys just built that. That's just a cookie cutter. Boom. Let's take the same thing. This is their outdoor field. Now, this is where they ought to. I mean, if they were really going to do it, they'd do it out here. This is where the All-Madden team, we're going to be putting the team together about the same time. We're going to practice out here. And then after we're all done, we're going to go eat there.
Good.
Yeah, just belly up to the trough.
Here's Mikowski. Taken down by the Vikings at about the 35. Loss of 6. Zolman again supplied the heat.
Tell you, Tomczak was out when he was in there, and after Mikowski came in, the Viking pass rush has really come to life. Generally, specifically, it's been Chris Dolman. He has not been blockable.
So 2 minutes left in the first half here. The Packers leading 10-0. They put 2 seconds back on the clock, so it was a 2-second warning. Wilcott's leaving for the Viking locker room a little early. McJulian back to punt for Green Bay. Leo Lewis.
McJulian looks like a guard. I look at the size of this guy. He ought to be up in front blocking instead of kicking.
Flag on the play again. He got off a heck of a kick. It bounces down and about finally goes into the end zone. The Packers had a chance but couldn't down it. 65-yard punt.
Look at the size of that guy. He's the biggest guy that's ever worn a team number in football. He fills out those pants.
Yeah, not many pads in there either.
You don't need. Well, one thing, the punter's not going to do a lot of tackling, but whatever he got in that, he put everything into that one.
No, he's still got something left, I think.
Well, then he's going to get back and try it all over again and do it again then if he has anything left. How far did that ball go?
Illegal
65.
formation on the offense. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards, repeat 4th down, 2-minute warning.
Well, we got a lot of stuff that they could put half of McJulian up on the line and leave half of them back to punt.
The great Minnesota warm-up workout.
Yeah, we saw Wilcott's going in earlier. And we'll see what happened to him in the special teams play. He just got level. In fact, and then he got up and got spun around. Looked like when he got hit, it could have been his knee.
Out of doors in the winter. Register at Target stores.
But a guy this size, I mean, he may be able to kick it 95 yards.
He might be.
Maybe he may be able to kick it right through the hole in the roof.
The Viking cheerleaders will perform the
Jerome Monahan Burns, he joined the Vikings again in 1968. He's been with the organization ever since.
Yeah, and here's a guy who's coached 41 years, and you'd have to think after 40 years, that's enough. You deserve to retire, and said he's going to fish, and he's going to play golf, and he's going to Jamaica. I think after 40 years of coaching, you deserve to fish and golf.
I think so.
Sit around in a boat and go to Jamaica.
Celebrate the holidays. This is another good punt. Not as long. Lewis. Packers do a good job getting under it. Good high punt by McJulian. Half holder down. Tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time, join Greg, Terry, Leslie, and Pat for the NFL Today. They'll have a complete playoff report, plus they'll check in at stadiums around the country for all the latest news and information. Could be a record year for replacing NFL head coaches. They'll have a roundtable discussion on who's going and who's coming. Plus, Pat O'Brien looks back at the NFL season in review. And who's going and who's coming? A lot of people can't even guess. Incomplete. Gannon intended for Novoselsky.
Yeah, we saw Mark Murphy on the sideline, trying to work out that ankle thing, and he was in there. But on the pass thing, instead of having him cover, they had him blitzing up around the line of scrimmage. So they're not going to get Mark Murphy out there one-on-one on anyone because he's not going to be able to cover him. But he can help someone or rush.
Year after year, they say, well, Mark Murphy probably won't make the team this year, and every year he's here when the season's over.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that you need on your team.
Here's Gannon back to throw it again. Flushed out of the pocket. He's a good runner. All that for 2 yards. A minute and a half left. Tony Bennett put the heat on Gannon.
Yeah, Gannon's a good runner, but one thing that impresses me about this Packer defense is they're good chasers. Because no matter what the Vikings try to do offensively, they have excellent pursuit. They have guys in there that can run, and they're up and down the line of scrimmage, and they don't let you get outside them.
The book on Gannon, 7 out of 18, but just 66 yards.
Again, the thing you forget about the Minnesota Vikings is they're the #1 rushing team in the NFC.
Gannon. Pass is incomplete. They'll have to punt. Hassan Jones was the intended receiver, but nobody was open.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know who they're booing. I mean, you want to say that they're booing Gannon, but if you just look at this thing when he's ready to throw, you see if you can freeze it right now. You look at here. I mean, everyone is covered. I mean, there's nothing. Here's what he tries to throw to, but there's nothing or no one to throw to. In fact, his receivers don't look like to me that they're really working hard to get open. I mean, you can boo the quarterback, but a big part of that the receivers have to take.
Flag on the play, or the official said they weren't set and ready. Newsom, the punter. Query back deep for Green Bay.
Timeout, Minnesota.
Timeout,
That's
Minnesota.
their last timeout.
They've used them all now. They didn't have enough men on the field.
Well, they just had 10 on the field, and then one came off. Right now, as they stand there, they only have 9.
Todd Scott just barely made it on the field.
Well, now they got 10 out there.
Don't forget, coming up at the half, the NFL Today, Greg and Terry with playoff updates. Report on the Atlanta-Dallas meeting tomorrow at Texas Stadium. Right here, we're at the Metrodome, the site of Super Bowl 26. Earlier today, the Giants finished off with a victory over Houston, 24-20.
There's the offensive lineman. You see Loudermilk there, 63. He did a great move yesterday. He put a... Talk about it later.
Query. Taken down by the Vikings, Novoselsky.
Anyway, what Loudermilk did, he had a stink bomb, see? And he put the stink bomb in Greg Minuski's helmet, just in the inside, in the forehead part. And then they're out there at practice. Now, it's one of those stink bombs that you have to hit or pop to activate. So Minuski puts his helmet on, see? He doesn't know the stink bomb's in the hat. And then during practice, Loudermilk comes out and he headbutts him. Now, Minuski will take a headbutt anytime he can get one. So he goes boom, so he headbutts him. That activates the stink bomb. The stink bomb goes off in Minuski's head. He goes crazy. He doesn't know where the smell's coming from, and it's in his head. And he was waving that helmet around, going nuts.
And he soaked the helmet all night. Flag on the play.
I think he soaked his head in the helmet. But, you know, you can't, I don't know, after practice, he just threw it in water. Now then it probably won't fit the next day. But he was going crazy, and he was going, you know, because he was so proud of the headbutt, and then the headbutt put the stink bomb off.
Holding, number 70 on the offense. The penalty is declined. Second down.
Holding called against the Packers, Keith Euchre. It's declined. There's the helmet.
And you notice there's no one around that. I mean, the only guy is Minuski. I mean, a man has to stay close to his helmet.
Well,
but look at that. I mean, no one else. I mean, that thing still stinks.
I saw some smoke coming out, I think.
Yeah. See, the man. I mean, you always keep your hat right by your foot.
Or on your head. That's Workman up to about the 35. A gain of 5. Ray Perry made the stop.
You know, you think the last game, Jerry Burns' last game, that the guys would be serious, you know, let's win one for Burnsy, let's win one for here. And the guys are putting stink bombs in each other's hats. But I think that anytime you have a coach and you can call him Burnsy, then you can have some fun with putting a stink bomb in a guy's hat.
I guarantee it, Burnsy has had some fun. That's probably why he lasted 40 years.
Well, he's been with some of the great ones, you know, Lombardi at Green Bay, Bud Grant, Abashevsky.
George Allen. That was Workman. That should just about take care of the first half. That is the end of the first half with the score, Green Bay 10, Minnesota yet to score. 10-0 Green Bay.
The NFL Today Dockers Halftime Report is sponsored by Levi's Dockers. Relax, you're among friends.
Welcome back to our studios, everyone, here in New York. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw, and halftime of our game between the Packers and the Minnesota Vikings as the Pack goes for the first season sweep of the Vikings since 1988. It's a 10-0 Green Bay lead at halftime. That is a halftime score. That's not a final score. We still have another half to play. Meanwhile, earlier today, the Houston Oilers went into the Meadowlands and were beaten by the New York Giants. This one is a final. 24-20 was the score. And, well, it was one of those days that Lawrence Taylor could have done without. He was reduced to just a passerby. Now, is this typical of the Giants season or what? Their only Pro Bowl selection, Bart Oates, snaps the ball past Phil Simms. William Fuller recovers. He got up and ran, but the ball was ruled down. And Ray Hanley says, it's going to be that kind of a day. Actually, it was better than that. Louis Tillman starts left, runs right for the touchdown. Warren Moon. What does its loss mean to the Oilers?
Well, you definitely want to go in with momentum, and we're not able to do that now because we did lose, and we have to rely on somebody else to beat a team so we can have the home field advantage and have that bye. But I think we know what we did wrong today, and we just have to rally together and get back to it.
We know this Houston team is very much a different team on the road than it is at home. Now, the Denver Broncos can win that first round bye with a victory at San Diego tomorrow, and Houston would get the winner of the New York Jets-Miami Dolphins game. What about this run and shoot? When it hits the road, it's different.
Well, you know what's happening, Greg, from a football standpoint, and Warren Moon told me this last week when I talked to him, most teams are playing 5 men up short in those short zones and dropping sometimes 2, sometimes going 3 deep. And what that's forcing them to do is take the short passes. Teams are staying out of man coverage. They will not blitz him because they don't want those guys, Hill and Jeffries, going deep on him, getting the bombs. And they're forcing Moon to take the short stuff, and it's not working for him. The other thing here is the Oilers are not on a roll. And when you get into the playoffs, when you have a chance to get a home field advantage or a bye, you ought to take the bull by the horn. They didn't do that today, and you got to have some doubts now about the Oilers and how they're going to perform when they get in the playoffs.
Yep, like we said, different team on the road than they are at home. A reminder, we'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time with our final regular season edition of the NFL Today. We'll take a look at what could be a record year for head coaching changes, and we'll bring you completely up to date on the playoff picture. And for more on that, we have a report from Leslie Visser in Dallas, where the Cowboys will host the Falcons tomorrow.
Jerry Glanville's big black attack, known as the Atlanta Falcons, swaggered into Dallas this afternoon, ready to take on the Cowboys.
It's going to be a great game, and we're going to have some fun out here. And, we're just looking forward to going out there and playing a real good game because Dallas is hot right now.
As for the Cowboys, Saturday's practice, if you could call this practice, was limited due to a wet field. The key questions are, will the Cowboys, having already clinched a playoff spot, be inspired, and who will direct the team, Steve Berline or Troy Aikman?
I think the ideal thing would be for me to get out there and play a little bit against Atlanta, but really it comes down to how the game's unfolding and you know what's going to happen if they put me in.
I don't see this game as being as emotional as what we've had for the last couple of months, because you know our guys have been under an emotional strain with the schedule that we played.
Steve, you're 3-0 directing this team. You starting to feel like Roger Staubach?
Not even close. We haven't even scratched the surface compared to what the great ones here have done, and we're having fun. You know, it's fun to be back out there, part of things, feeling like I'm actually contributing to a team, and I'm just having a great time. We plan on carrying this through the playoffs, hopefully all the way to the bowl.
America's once and future team has now won 4 straight games, and they don't want to lose either momentum or the fans. As defensive end Jim Jeffcoat said, when we were 1-15, people threw trash at us. Now they're throwing roses. We'll see tomorrow. Greg?
All right, Leslie, thank you. What a terrific attitude Steve Berline brings to the stadium every week. Don't you think Al Davis wishes he had him back in Los Angeles?
I got to say this. I believe Al messed up. I think Al Davis and his genius, or whoever said he was a genius, I think he blew this one. I think he'd give anything if it had Berline. I don't know what the personality problems were, but Steve Berline has proven he is a top-notch quarterback, and he should have been out there with those Raiders. Whatever it is, this is one that got away.
Yeah. Among the most partisan viewers of that game will be the New Orleans Saints. Now, Jim Mora's squad arrived in Phoenix earlier this afternoon, knowing that if Atlanta falters in Dallas tomorrow, the Saints can capture the NFC West by beating the Cards. Bobby Hebert will start at quarterback, and during the week, teammate Ricky Jackson proclaimed him the man to lead them to the promised land.
I'm just going to take it one game at a time and, try and do my job. I appreciate the confidence that, Ricky and a lot of my teammates have in me, but, I'm not necessarily a miracle worker. I just try and do my job, and probably Ricky just likes me. That's why he said that.
So the NFL today begins at 12:30 Eastern Time tomorrow, and single-header action for you. Atlanta will be at Dallas, the Detroit Lions in Buffalo to play the Bills, and then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time from Philadelphia, the Eagles will host the Washington Redskins, and the Saints will be at Phoenix. And we'll send you back out to Pat and John in the Metrodome right after this word from your local station.
Would you like me to...
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering. AT&T, proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. And by Braun Electric Shavers, Braun designed to perform better.
Majkowski. It would appear he's going to start the second half for Green Bay. Tomczak started the game, but bruised ribs took him out. Majkowski came on. At the half, Packers have 8 first downs to 5 for Minnesota. Not much of great consequence happening on either the rushing or the passing total.
I think this one here was big, Pat, where you see that with Tomczak, the Green Bay offense had the 10 points, and since Majkowski's come in, they've only had 18 yards and no points, and they don't seem to have that continuity. In fact, it looks like to me that Tomczak's going to be back in there because he's the guy that gets all the practice, and he's the guy that was ready to play the game, and you could just kind of feel the difference when Tomczak went out of the game. You see here, he was 6 for 9 and a touchdown. But when he went out of the game, the pass rush of the Vikings really came to life.
Well, of course, Majkowski can't move. He's got that bad hamstring or bad knee or whatever it is. So he can't escape as he normally does. First half possessions.
Well,
you can see what Green Bay did.
Well, they started off strong. The first time they got the ball, they got a field goal. The second time they got the ball, they got a touchdown. Then they had a punt, and the fourth time they missed a field goal. So they had really moved the ball pretty well early, and then that's when Tomczak got hurt. They slowed down.
Minnesota's first half, not very good.
Well, they didn't really drive the ball a lot, and then the 2 times you see there that they did get down where they had a chance. They missed field goals. So a fumble and 2 missed field goals has kind of been the first half for the Minnesota Vikings, and offensively they've been sloppy.
Rich Gannon's receivers have not, at least to us, appeared to work very hard. And he's had a frustrating first half as well. Manusky.
There's Manusky. Let's see if he can run down with that old stink bomb in his hat. Maybe no one will want to block him. Maybe the Packers won't even want to get near him.
Revés. Kicks off to Wilson. Wilson hit down at about the 23 after a 21-yard return of Revés' kickoff.
And Manusky was in on the tackle, and you watch him run down. It's going to be a while, but there's going to be someone there that will. Look, he's running down with that crazy look in his eye and that smile on his face. There's a goofy guy running down under a kickoff. There'll be a guy there who's going to try and block him. Boom, he just puts him right off, gets in there, takes on another guy, and makes the tackle. And then you see what he stuck in there? That stinky helmet.
I'm not sure that was a smile.
Yeah. Oh, that's a half. Well, yeah, that's a goofy smile. Yeah. Then you see him come over and point into his head. I used my head on that one.
Quarterback is Majkowski. Goldman takes Darrell Thompson down.
There's Manusky. He's tired from that rub, but he came off the field and pointed to his head. You know that he used it on that play. The guys are congratulating him. He's looking up at himself. Yeah, look, that's me. Proud. See, he won't bring his hat around, though. You notice that? Well, most of the guys, they carry their hat around. You know, where the other guys see it? He doesn't, because if he has a hat, no one will stand by him.
2nd and 14. Here's Majkowski back to throw. Goldman again all over his back just as he let it go. Jackie Harris, the intended receiver.
I'll tell you,
Majkowski is slow getting up.
When Majkowski came into the game, Chris Dolman came to life. Now watch Dolman. He's right here, and he's just too much for Lewis Cheek. He just can't block him. If you just see him here, you see he just takes him the outside, and he's just going to run right around him. Now the speed here, see he gets to this point, he has him beaten. Now he just takes off, he smells the quarterback there, and again they get another sandwich job on Majkowski.
Majkowski was slow getting up, but he is up. And this time they'll operate out of the shotgun, 3rd and 14. Goldman after Majkowski again and takes him out of bounds. He came a long way, but he stayed with it.
I'll tell you, Dolman is going to make the All-Madden team since Majkowski came into the game. I've never seen a guy turn it on like this. Look, now they're doubling. They're keeping that back in there to help. Majkowski takes off. Dolman runs like a sprinter. You talk about the last game and it doesn't mean anything. If it doesn't mean anything, you don't make plays like that all the way across the field. Because if you didn't, no one would say you should have.
No matter what the stakes, the good players, the great ones, play at a different level.
And since Majkowski came into this game, Dolman has just gone crazy.
Leo Lewis gets away from the first Packer down. Still on his feet. Lewis to about the 48. Taken down by Fuller. But Minnesota takes over in pretty good shape. 14-yard return by Lewis. Here's Tony Mandarich.
Yeah, he injured his ankle last week, and he's missing his game today. It's the first game he's ever missed in his life. High school, college, and professional. And I think it's taken Tony Mandarich a little time to adjust in this league, and he's not the dominant player they thought he was going to be when he was drafted #1, but he's a better player than he was criticized for early.
Gannon to Carter. Knocked out of bounds by Holmes.
Watch Charles Wilson here. When you're the outside man on a punt, they're going to double you, and this is what it's like. He gets doubled, then he gets the 3rd guy in. So it end up triple. Now that guy is a 4th guy. So you know you're going to get double, and then you get 3, then you get 4, and that's about 2 too many to beat. You know, on the whole right side down here, Pat, there's one guy in the Viking bench sitting all by himself. It's Minuski. He's the only guy on the whole bench. There's not another person on the bench.
The ruling on the field.
And the woman was offering him oxygen. But there's no one else. That bench that he's sitting on is about a 15-yard bench, and there's not another person.
Do you think it has anything to do with his helmet?
I think he may have taken that stink home and brought it back again today. But that oxygen lady doesn't know.
That's why she's offering him fresh air.
I tell you, it's a bad career when you're playing the final game of the season and the only one you can get to talk to you is the oxygen lady. No coaches, no one's there coaching them, no teammates giving them headbutts or high fives.
Here comes somebody. No.
Oh, that'll be a kicker.
Yep.
First down.
Reves didn't even say hello.
Yeah, he got that toe. See, he had the left foot down, and then he just rubbed the toe.
First down. Rick Finney is the lone setback. Carter in motion, the reverse. This way, a flag on the play. Carter cut it upfield down to about the 36 out by Scott Stephen, but a penalty marker down. They got 5 on the reverse.
Viking offense, for whatever reason, just hasn't gotten in sync. Part of it, I don't think the receivers have been working hard to get open. The running game isn't getting going, and this Green Bay Packer defense is playing a lot better than the Vikings expected.
Holding, number 76 on the offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Still first down. Tim Irwin call for the hold.
Remember early in the season, the Vikings used that no huddle where they just lined up right around the ball, and when they went from Wade Wilson to Rich Gannon, they also junked that no huddle and went back to a regular offense.
First and 20, and Gannon back to throw it. Gets it to his tight end, Novoselsky. Steve Jordan, by the way, took a joke. He had a bad neck going in. Probably will not play anymore. Not today, I mean.
Yeah, he went over the middle there, and he got hit by Jerry Holmes just as the ball went through, and he was coming in with the bad neck, as you say. In fact, he didn't even practice yesterday. And he got that hit. So Novoselsky, that last pass was spread out like a wide receiver, and now we see he's in there tight on the right side.
Second and 13 at the Green Bay 44. The Packers leading by 10. Gannon with a lot of time. Finally, the time runs out. And the pass goes out.
You know, again, this is just great coverage, Pat, or no one getting open, and I think that's what's frustrating Gannon, because the pass protection is pretty good. He really had plenty of time, but again, he doesn't have anyone to throw to. If you just watch here, watch the pass protection. He's clean. You see, now right now, if he gets rid of the ball quickly, if he were Joe Montana, he could throw it right in there on a slant or on this slant, which is tough because he's here. But now when you hold it that long, see, if you hold it longer than that, then everything converges. Then when they go to the corner, they end up in double teams.
Third and 13. And it's straight back, and quickly this time. Chris Carter. Tackle from behind by Tim Hawk. And no first down. Newsom in to punt it.
Yeah, but the Vikings right now look like an offense that's just playing out the season, and this is the last game, and they're playing
like it's the last game.
Like a team that's out of it playing the last game of the season. They just can't get anything going and keep it together. These guys are doing a pretty good job. The pass protection has been there. No one's getting open.
Newsom's high kick. The Vikings are going to down it at about the 4. I'm not sure if it was slapped backwards by a Viking in the end zone or not.
Well, if it touches a Packer, it can be the Vikings' ball. The Packers should get away from it.
It'll be Green Bay's ball at the 20. 10-0. Packers lead. Here's that punt again. The Viking who batted it backward took a couple of steps in the end zone. So it's a touchback.
Yeah, you see number 53, Caesar. If he's in the air and hits that ball back, it's okay. But he had already taken a couple steps in the end zone before he touched it. Excited fan.
Mikowski still the quarterback. Woodside. Stopped by Noga. Pat Summerall, John Madden. We're at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, the site of Super Bowl 26. Today is not to be confused in any way with what the Super Bowl will be. Green Bay 10, Minnesota nothing. Touchdown pass from Tomczak to Woodside, and a field goal by Jackie, and that's been all the scoring. There's Mike Tomczak signaling in the plays.
Tomczak in the first half got sandwiched. Chris Dolman came from one side. Jimmy Williams, a linebacker, came from the other side. Tomczak had things going pretty well and under control, and he injured his ribs, and Don Mikowski had to come into the game, and the Packer offense has really sputtered since that time.
2nd and 3. Woodside again. A 3-yard gain. He should have a first down. Stopped by Rutland.
They ran in there again. You know, anytime you have a good pass rusher like Chris Dolman, and Dolman has had a super day, especially since Mikowski came in, the one thing you want to do to slow him down is to run at him, because then that makes him tighten up a little, tighten up to the tackle a little. That makes him square his stance a little and not just sprint up the field. That has to be Sterling Sharp. No?
Yes, it is.
I think.
No, it isn't.
But Sterling Sharp has that same look.
He's got the gloves on just like that.
And he has that tape around the waist just like that.
Penalty marker down. Whistles everywhere.
Delay, offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Here's Sterling Sharp. He does have different gloves, but he has that same tape. Now, that's a new one. Usually, you know, a player wears a belt, and I guess if you want, you know, that's that kind of tape. You know, when you get it on a package, you can never open it. You try and break it, you can never break it, and you have to get a scissors, and you don't have, who has scissors? So I guess he just kind of tapes himself into those pants before the games and figures one thing, they may tackle him, they may do it, but they're not going to pants him.
Wonder how he gets out of there.
Well, then you have to find someone who knows how to open those things. I never can. I can never open that kind of tape.
Mikowski intended for Sharp, incomplete.
I don't know what Sharp is saying there. He's just shaking his head about it. He said this off-season
he's going to travel.
That's what he said. He said he's going to travel. He said before he's worked, he's tried other jobs, he's gone into professions, he's tried things, and he said he's just beat up, he's tired, he's going to take the off-season off and just travel.
Going to a couple of playoff games.
Going to go see his brother play.
Built a new house in Columbia, South Carolina. Hadn't had a chance to live in it yet. We'll see what that's like. Mikowski over the head of Jackie Harris, incomplete. Noga put the heat on Mikowski that time.
I think that's when a guy doesn't prepare to play and then has to play is what we're seeing in Don Mikowski now. Here's a guy who prepared to play, was ready to play, and got the rib injury. And now the guy who really didn't prepare, really didn't get the plays, really when we even talked to him last night, really didn't expect to play. Now has to play, and this game is tough enough to play if you're completely ready. But when you're not, it's darn near impossible.
Screen pass. Got 3 blockers in front. And a first down Packers. Workman took the screen pass. Noga finally tripped him up. But an 18-yard gain.
Yeah, we talked about Workman as being not the running back, but the receiving back. Here he's in the backfield. He sets up like he's going to block, and then he gets out there behind the screen. He got his 3 linemen out there. He uses them well. The last one right there, boom, was 57 Moran. He got 1 more block, and that's what got him 18 yards instead of 15 yards.
And got him a first down as well. The purple duck. It's been that kind of year. Kowski has Thompson. Thompson gets into Minnesota territory. Another 18-yard pickup, stopped by Joey Browner.
Now Mikowski's starting to get a little rhythm here. And again, on that pass there to Thompson, he found that area that they had some success, and Tomczak had some success in early, is that middle area, hitting the back and the tight end in that area.
7:40 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Green Bay leading 10-0. The Metrodome, Minneapolis. Handoff. Woodside. You've got just a couple. Mike Merriweather on the stop, along with Ken Clark.
See what they try and do by running a Dolman. If we watch him right here, here's Dolman right here. Okay, now what's going to happen is he's pass rushing. They put a tight end in him. Look at him in the clicker. See, now tight end, he's going to want to rush outside. So when you get a guy who wants to go outside, you run inside him. See, now that'll make him stay at home and not pass rush the way he was. So that's a pretty good move there. When a guy starts to get a big pass rusher, start to run inside him.
Gronkowski intended for Kemp. Slanting in, stopped by McMillan, incomplete. 3rd and 7. They need a few more for another field goal attempt by Jackie.
Well, they probably need another completion, and if they get another completion, they should get a first down. So Jackie shouldn't have to kick.
3rd and 7 at the 36.
Got to get one to Sterling Sharp here pretty soon. He could catch a pass and break one and make a touchdown.
Mikowski out of the spread formation this time. Up into the pocket. The pass is complete to Sharp, and he'll have the first down. Stayed on his feet, but the Vikings gang up on him, led by McMillan. A 9-yard gain. That's enough for the first down.
One thing about Sterling Sharp, he's a tough guy and he's a strong guy, and he can break tackles. And if you're going to tackle him, you better get a whole bunch of guys here. He's working real well here to get open. He catches a pass. Now he's thinking of scoring. He's trying to break tackles. He's not going to go down. He's spinning. He's hitting. He's moving. Guys are coming in and giving their best shot. And now the whistle blows. So what Sterling Sharp is saying, hey, enough of that already. The whistle blow. You got to stop. But that's a go-to guy.
It has been ever since he got to Green Bay. Packers right side of their offensive line, both of them, both the guard and the tackle.
False start.
And Hallstrom
Number 70 on the offense, 5 yards prior to the snap. It's still first down.
Yeah, the players were talking last night about Euchre starting here for Mandarich. Like I said, Mandarich has not missed a game ever, and so Euchre starting in his place. They were saying, we don't know if he'll finish something. He may hyperventilate. I guess he's a real hyper player. You could just see the look in his face. His eyes may just pop out of his head. He gets so excited.
show blitz. Packers run a draw play back to the original line of scrimmage. Woodside got 4 yards, maybe 5. Felix Wright made the stop. There's Mandarich.
Of course, they're still talking about the year that the Packers took Mandarich. They passed up Barry Sanders, and that argument can go on forever. You know, what would have happened if the Packers would have taken Barry Sanders instead of Tony Mandarich? But they still have another chance. I was talking to Ron Wolf before the game, and they got 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s. So this team needs an infusion of talent, and they're in pretty good position to get it.
They got a good draft. They can certainly do that. Outside. Struggle for your Felix Wright and Ken Clark. It's just exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah, and if some things happen, Ron Wolf was saying that they could have the 4 or 5 picks in the first 60 or something like that. But in any case, it means that in the draft, if they keep those draft choices, they're going to get 4 or 5 good players. And then, of course, they're going to do some plan B. I think they're probably going to change this coaching staff and overhaul this team.
Well, you know Ron Wolf well. Kowski runs another draw play, this time to Workman. We've got 6 yards, and we'll see Jackie.
All they were trying to do with this play here is just run the ball. They knew that they had the field goal. They didn't want to force anything and lose the field goal. Isn't that Bill Jobko?
I think it was.
I know it. That looked like Bill Jobko, an old Minnesota Viking. An old linebacker.
39-yard. Hit by Jackie. One is good, and the Packers move out in front 13-0 with 3:20 left to play in the 3rd quarter. $13-0. Green Bay over Minnesota. 3:20 left in the 3rd quarter. The Vikings have had nothing work offensively. Chris Jackie just hit a 39-yard field goal to put Green Bay ahead 13-0. Nelson back deep. Jackie's kick sails down to Nelson, who bobbles the ball. And the Packers are down in a swarm. The Vikings are too. Let's see who comes out of the bottom of the pile with it.
The only guy not in the pile is the guy that fumbled it. It looked like Terry Allen was on his back, number 21 of the Vikings, and the ball darn near bounced into his hands. I don't know what happened to it after that. But Allen was on his back and in good position to recover the fumble.
That was a tough kick to handle. Never did turn over. It was like a knuckleball. Packers are still saying we've got it. And they do. That's the 2nd turnover for the Vikings.
See, that ball is still wobbling the same way. Look right now, you see when 21 came in there, look at the ball right there. That's when I thought he had it. And then after that, I was the last I saw of him. But Terry Allen was there, and the ball was coming into his hands. You thought he was going to get control of it. Then after that, you didn't know where it went. But you know where it is now. You see it now. It's the toughest thing to get, and now it's going to come popping out of there again. Remember Darren Nelson, that pass they were playing the Redskins at RFK in the playoffs? And
oh yeah, I'll never forget that.
Right there at the end, they throw him that corner pass, and he drops it. Sometimes that's how close this Viking team has been to being a great one.
Remember when everybody said they had, what was it, 2 years ago, they had 9 players in the Pro Bowl, and everyone said they're loaded with superstars, and that's the team we have to beat. Sometimes you can have too many superstars.
Yeah, and pay too big of salaries, and then those superstars get old, and and you're paying them superstar money and they're not playing superstar football anymore, or they get injured like Keith Millard, and those are the two things that have happened to the Vikings.
North side. 1st and 10. Reggie Rutland made the stop. In 1988, they had 9 players chosen for the Pro Bowl, and it's diminished every year since then.
Now this year, of course, they just have 2, Randall McDaniel, their left guard, and their tight end, Steve Jordan. But this is going to be a tough team to rebuild because they don't have any draft choices. I mean, they gave away the farm in the Herschel Walker trade, and they don't have their first 4 picks, so they can't have wholesale changes because they don't have enough draft choices to make wholesale.
And all those superstars we were talking about are the same age. All of them about 30. Pass incomplete, but a flag on the play intended for Sterling Sharp. Mikowski under pressure, but a penalty marker down.
I'll tell you, Noga was right there, and Jimmy Williams, Al Noga and Jimmy Williams really hit Mikowski when he threw that ball. You wonder how he even got rid of it. Watch the hit that he gets from his right side, the left side there. He has to step up and throw it, and boom, did they unload on him.
Wow. I'm with you. I don't know how he got up, but the penalty was against Rutland in the end zone. And it'll be 1st and goal, Green Bay.
Now the penalty was right there in the back corner of the end zone, so that puts the ball on the 1-yard line.
Almost lost the ball, Wortman, but he got into the end zone before he was knocked backwards. Touchdown, Green Bay.
There's old James Camp in the center. He's in there headbutting, and they love that. Offensive linemen love goal line. They all got to stay low. You got to keep your feet going, and when your back can get in there and break the plane of the goal line with the ball, that's 5 happy guys. Jimmy Williams, he gets a little pursuit. They kick him out. The safety misses, and they get 6.
Jackie's extra point is good, and the Packers lead it 20-0 with 2:13 left in the 3rd. P.S. I Love You. It's tonight on CBS. My initials. Wonder who it is. At the 1. Darren Nelson out to about the 23. 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
You're watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern, some of you will see divisional rivals Washington and Philadelphia go at it as Washington tunes up for the playoffs. When the playoffs start, all eyes will be on the Redskins, pro football's best team at 14-1. Looking to run away to their 3rd Super Bowl victory since 1983. Tomorrow, it'll be against one of their biggest rivals, the Eagles, here on CBS.
You see him as he was running down the field. Gary Clark looked like he was pointing number 1 all the time. He was running down the field. That guy's one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, they're number 1 as far as what we've seen. Gannon deep to Chris Carter. Carter out of bounds at the 25. Gary Holmes pushed him out. 50-yard completion.
This Packer defense has been playing well all day. They really haven't been, not a big pass rush, but there haven't been a lot of receivers open. Here again, not a big pass rush. Gannon fakes to the left. This is still pretty good coverage. Throws it a little short. Chris Carter makes the play. Tell you, he had 2 guys there on him.
20 to about the 18, a gain of 8, stopped by Mitchell.
See, now that's the difference. When Herschel Walker gets his shoulder square like that, then you get those kind of results. When he has his shoulders going the other way, you don't. Watch him. Just take that ball, square shoulders, hit in there, make a little move, keep the shoulders square, keep the feet moving, and you gain 7 yards.
Walker again, 2nd and 2. Chuck Cecil made the first hit. Walker got enough, it appears, for a Viking first down.
That's going to be very close because he didn't get his shoulder square again, and it's ironic. Chuck Cecil hit him just as he was ready to square him. His shoulders again were going from perpendicular to square, and Cecil hits him right in the middle of it. What? If he can get him square, he'll get a first down. See, he's just turning to get him. Boom, right there, Cecil hit him, and he knocked him out. Had he been able to get square, he couldn't have done that. But Cecil hit him and redirected him, and it's 3rd down.
And very short. Walker again. Again, he didn't get square, but he got enough for the first down. Mitchell and Noble.
Well, Herschel always tries to turn in the hole, too, you know, to give him the back, because, see, he wears those shoulder pads that go all the way down his back to his waist. So he tries to get him to hit that area, too.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Green Bay 20, Minnesota nothing. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back at the Metrodome, some folks are having fun. Some are not. Gannon back to throw. To Carter, flag on the play. Anthony Carter, that is. Bernell Dent made the hit on Carter. He wants out.
Yeah, it's that. It looks like he took a hit right on that right shoulder, and you just get a sting. And there's not a lot to Anthony Carter. One of the fun players is
Illegal hands to the face. Number 65 on the offense. 10 yards. Still first down.
Penalty against the Vikings. Minnesota's been penalized 7 times, and it's cost them 62 yards.
Yeah, that was the left tackle, Gary Zimmerman. You can see Anthony Carter, looks like his right shoulder there, they're checking. I think he got hit right on the point of it when he caught that ball.
Gannon again back to throw. Novoselsky. Mitchell made the stop.
Well, you know, we were watching the Vikings practice yesterday, and in this area was that one where they threw it to Chris Carter, that quick up, that timing pass out to the right, and I would expect to see it in this series. And they were throwing it from about this distance, about the 20-yard line, and they practiced it in individual and they practiced it in team, and you would think that somewhere in this series we'll see it. I don't think on this play because he's not outside.
Gannon is going to take off with it. He is a good runner. Scott Stephen took him down after a gain of 7.
Yeah, Rich Gannon was saying that he went to Delaware, and you know, it was a small school, and at first guys were coming in and trying him out. He'd work out for everyone. They had him working out backpedaling as a defensive back, catching passes and all that stuff, and then he wanted to be a quarterback. And so when the guys would come in, you know, and say, I want to watch the Washington Redskins wanted to send Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator, and he said, don't even show up after a while because he wanted to be a quarterback, and this was the one team that would let him play quarterback.
3rd down. Incomplete. Hassan Jones was the intended receiver. No sign of the field goal unit coming on. On fourth down, they're going to go.
I still think they have that play to Chris Carter that they worked on all day yesterday, but now with fourth down now, they're going to expect that. Now, I think that was probably something, if you were going to throw it, you would have thrown it on first or second down.
Lewis has replaced Anthony Carter. Jones and Chris Carter come wide left.
The Vikings can get a first down.
Touchdown. Hassan Jones.
Hassan Jones is shaking his head. Gannon couldn't find anyone open. The defender ran right by Hassan Jones. He just stayed there. I think they'll probably review this one to see if Hassan Jones, the way he was shaking his head, I wouldn't be surprised if he weren't out somewhere. Oh, he dropped the ball. That's why he was shaking his head. Because he was walking back and he was shaking his head no. And the players know about instant replay now. So when he saw touchdown, he didn't get excited.
The official that signaled touchdown was blocked by Jones' back. Ruled incomplete finally.
That even excited Santa Claus. Santa Claus said, I saw that one all the way. Santa Claus is here getting rested up. He has a big night Wednesday night and Thursday. Hassan Jones was hoping for a Santa Claus, but he knew it was.
Oh, sure.
You know, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have seen a player jump up and shake his head after they signal touchdown. When you see a guy get up and shake his head like, no, 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 don't get excited, that wasn't one. You know about instant replay.
Hassan Jones and Chris Carter. And as John Madden said, he knew. The official did signal touchdown, but he knew. Al Noga.
This is a determined guy. Not a real big guy, but he is tough to block on a passing down.
Again, a reminder that tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, join Greg, Terry, and Leslie and Pat for the NFL Today. They'll have a complete playoff report, plus they'll check in at stadiums all across the country for all the latest news and information. It could be a record year for replacing NFL head coaches. They'll have a roundtable discussion on who's going and who's coming. Plus, Pat O'Brien looks back at the NFL season in review. It's all tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern on the NFL Today. The last word before kickoff.
You know, you always talk about head coaches and head coaches going and so on, and it's a big story. But the other part of that story is the assistant coaches. That's a tough one. The assistant coaches, their families, you know, they don't make big money. They don't get a lot of notoriety. But when that happens, to some people it's a story, and to a lot of people it's their life.
That was Woodside over the right side. 4-yard pickup. You know, that is something you don't think about that often. They've got to pick up and move just like everybody else if they want to stay in the game. Usually that happens. Some of them stay where they are.
Yeah, I know. That's the tough thing. Wilcox there has the broken wrist. Carl Lee is there, you know, the starting corner who had been the Pro Bowl corner. He has a broken thumb, and he's on injured reserve. One of the good cover guys in the league. In fact, he and Sterling Sharp are business partners. And they're going to get together and meet at their business establishment.
Be part of Sterling Sharp's traveling. Woodside again. Stopped by Merriweather. 12 minutes, just over 12 minutes left to play in this game, the final game of the regular season. Two teams out of the playoff picture. But as one of them said, the game's on our schedule, we got to play it. We're at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Pat Summerall with John Madden. Green Bay shutting out Minnesota 20-0. We'll be back here for the Super Bowl on January 26th.
I'll tell you, that's going to be fun. I mean, the Super Bowl is always fun, but the time between now and then and all the teams fighting to get there is a lot of fun, too. This is what the NFL is all about from this weekend on all the way through the Super Bowl.
That was Vince Workman, stopped by Felix Wright. The one thing about pro football that puts it, well, there are many things that separate it from all other professions, is you don't want to be home for Christmas.
Yeah, I remember, when we weren't home for Christmas, it was always be, oh, it's terrible you're not home for Christmas. One time, I was home for Christmas. We didn't make the playoffs. It was the worst Christmas we ever had. But from that point on, it was always, I hope you're not home for Christmas.
Leo Lewis has to retreat from McJulian's punt. He is taken down at about the 32. 10:34 left to play. Brian Noble down to make the stop. 20-0 Green Bay.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
Jerry Burns' final game as the Viking head coach after 41 years in the coaching profession. 2 turnovers have hurt Minnesota. Vince Workman of Green Bay, 75 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Tom Zach started at quarterback. Came out of the game with bruised ribs. Since then, it's been Majkowski. Carter has a mild shoulder separation. Will not return to the action. That's Anthony Carter. Darren Nelson in the backfield. Ball play to Nelson. Brian Noble made the stop. Vikings go with no huddle.
Yeah, you see right here, they're just going on a pass rush and run a draw right by it. And the Vikings, like you said, lined up right on the line of scrimmage. This is what they were doing early in the season.
2nd and 5. Gannon has his pass picked off by Chuck Cecil. Cecil knocked out of bounds by Gannon. Hassan Jones was the intended receiver. Gannon knocked Cecil out of bounds.
Listen to this crowd here. It sounds like it's a home crowd. Watch Gannon here. He threw a bad pass. He threw it to Cecil again. I don't know if anyone was open. When you throw a pass like that, you got to make a tackle like that. You notice one thing, he throws his left shoulder in there. Any right-handed quarterback that throws an interception should tackle with his left shoulder.
That was a good tackle.
And it's their 3rd turnover.
Nevertheless, it's Green Bay ball at the Minnesota 20. And they already lead 20-0.
Chuck Cecil's enjoying it. They get over there, they get to keep the ball and then watch the replay in the stadium scoreboard, so they get to see it 2 or 3 times.
And off to Keith Woodside, who's down to about the 16, a gain of 3. Merriweather made the stop.
Yeah, I remember once when I was coaching, you talk about being home for Christmas. Both of these teams will be home for Christmas, and the teams that play next week won't. And, Christmas comes on Wednesday, so they have to practice on Christmas Day. I remember when I was coaching, one time the guy said, hey, Thursday's Christmas, what are you going to do? And I said, hey, Thursday ain't Christmas, Thursday's offensive day. And the guy wrote it in the paper, then they called me Scrooge. Because Wednesday was always defensive day for us and Thursday was offense. And I said, that doesn't change it.
You get to the playoffs, that's Christmas. Thompson inside the 10, 1st down Green Bay, close to it. Jimmy Williams made the stop.
You know, and Jerry Burns, you know it's his last game, but you could just tell by that picture there that this isn't the way he wanted to go out. You can't believe it. He wanted to win. He wanted to go out 9-7. That wouldn't have been his choice. There's Scrooge. I was Scrooge back then.
Well, you got over that, though.
Yeah. I'll tell you, you know, Jerry has lived and died with every one of those wins and losses.
First and goal, Green Bay at the Minnesota 8. Behind the line of scrimmage is Thompson for a loss of 2 by Merriweather.
At least one thing, when he takes that headset off around his neck today, it will be the last time he'll do it. There's Paul Wiggin, his assistant. And you see on that side, Lindy Infante. When Lindy Infante took this job, he said this is going to be his last coaching job. And he'll never coach another team. And if that is true, this could well be his last coaching game.
I'm not sure I believe that.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you change. Guys change and things change, but...
Woodside, not much. By Ray Berry. No gain, in fact.
But the thing is, the Vikings, even if they were 9-7, they still had a disappointing season. And all the players said it yesterday, you know, that even if we win, you know, we should have beaten Detroit and we should have, you know, won some of those other games.
New England
goes back to those 2 games. New England and Detroit were the ones that they really worried about. Jerry Burns would have liked to have gone out this year and had Tom Moore, one of his assistants, take over and everyone else stay, and that's probably not going to happen.
Nikowski wants a timeout. Green Bay 20, Minnesota nothing with 6:52 left.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mitsubishi. The word is getting around. The U.S. Army, where you get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by Budweiser, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
6 minutes and 52 seconds left to play. Green Bay 20, Minnesota nothing. The Packers at the Minnesota 10. 3rd and 10. Thompson and Woodside behind Nikowski. Woodside, touchdown. From 10 yards out, he dragged Joey Browner in with him.
Lindy and Fonny say that's the way to throw it to him. When they, you know, they've been a passing team. They said they didn't run enough these last few games, or at least since Ron Wolf's been hired. Lindy and Fonny started running more. The offensive line loves it. And the other thing is Chris Dolman started to become a big pass rusher, so they started to run at that side, to that left side. That's where they were getting the big pass rush. So then they stopped passing and they went to running to that side and have had a lot of success there.
Chris Jackie for the extra point, and it's good. First touchdown run of the season.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. Good block, and they packed everything in and gave him a good 7-hole. The Vikings were offsides on that play.
Here's a touchdown. Woodside drags Browner right from about the 4-yard line in.
Yeah, they packed everything to the inside and made that hole. And there's Browner. And there's breaking the plane.
And the Packers lead it now 27-0. Keith Woodside, who just scored the touchdown, his first rushing touchdown of the season, to put the Packers ahead 27-0.
Richard Moran, number 57 there, he's still excited. Those offensive linemen, and I know Richard Moran, I've known him since he's high school. He went to high school with my son, and knowing him, he gets excited about anything that is physical. And those guys just love to run the ball.
Jackie's kickoff goes to Darren Nelson. Out to about the 21. Stopped by Scott Stephen. If the Packers do shut out the Vikings, it's the first time at home since 1962 when the Bears did it 13-0.
I tell you, and that again is not the way. When we watch the Vikings practice, when we talk to the players, the coaches, yes, this is not the way they wanted to go out. I mean, obviously it's not, but I mean to lose, to darn near be embarrassed, to be shut out. They didn't play the season the way to play it, and they sure as heck aren't ending it the way to end it.
Screen pass to Nelson, and he's cut down immediately. Tim Hawk. A loss of 4.
He read that screen. Watch Hawk come up here. Again, the screen pass, they're going to sneak Nelson. Anytime they put Nelson in the backfield, everyone thinks screen pass anyway. But Hawk saw that, and he got up there so quickly that the line didn't even have time to form their screen.
On second down, Gannon back to throw. Incomplete. Leo Lewis, the intended receiver, covered by Jerry Holmes.
I think part of this lack of offensive success for the Minnesota Vikings has been, again, Rich Gannon has not really been sharp. And a bigger part of it as receivers haven't gone open, and Green Bay has done a heck of a job of covering because the pass protection has really been pretty good all day.
On 3rd and 14, Gannon will have to put it up again. Protection's good again. Darren Nelson short of the first down, stopped by Holmes. And Green Bay will have to punt. Minnesota will have to punt. If they choose, they might go for it, and they will. 4th and about 2. They will make it. Green Bay will take over. Reggie Burnett stopped Darren Nelson. Today's game was produced by Robert D. Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. Our associate producer is Michael Frank, and the broadcast associates are John Coleman'sberger and Jim Cornell. The NFL Today was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of the NFL on CBS is Ed Gorin, and the executive producer is Ted Shaker. If it is Lindy Infante's last game, it'll be a happy one, shutting out Minnesota.
Well, you know, you say that this is an emotional game, and it has to be played with emotion. There's only one way to play it. I will say this, the Packers today were much more emotional than the Vikings.
Flag on the play. Darrell Thompson, the ball carrier. Felix Wright made the stop. A loss of a yard.
Yeah, especially the defensive Packers. I think that their defensive coordinator, Hank Bulla, has always been a good defensive coach, and it never gives you the same type of look, mixes up looks, blitzes, changes.
Number 63, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
5 minutes, 27 seconds left. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League. The CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Minnesota Vikings, and the National Football League is prohibited. 1st and 20 at the 39. Last game of the regular season. Thompson again, stopped by Dolman.
You wonder who's going to be coaching this team. We know Jerry Burns isn't. He was hoping that one of his assistants, Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, he would hope that he would. Lindy Infante, you're not sure who it's going to be next year. There's been talk about Bill Parcells. going there. I'm not sure about that one. We send our best to our good friend Bill Parcells, who had angioplasty this week, and
but feels good now.
It feels good, and it was good to see him back to work today.
Right. Woodside. Stopped by Felix Wright. Clock down to 4 minutes left now.
I'll tell you, you can say it's a meaningless game, but somehow it's hard to tell the Warriors who went through it that it's meaningless.
Those are, as you say, live bullets they're shooting out there. That's not meaningless.
No, and they go out there and the hits, and one thing they all have is a great deal of pride, because if you don't have that,
you wouldn't be here.
You can't play this game.
This is Woodside. Out of bounds, stops the clock, not enough for a first down. McMillan knocked him out. He might have gotten close enough for a Jackie try if they want to.
Hey, what's that Sterling Sharp has in the back of his helmet? I think he has the straps for the thing that you put in the neck. It doesn't have the neck, but he has more contraptions on.
Yeah. He
has that tape around his waist, and he got his helmet strapped to his head. And a smile on his face. That's one thing about Sterling Sharp. He goes out here and you can't forget it's a game. And he's one of the guys that always plays like it's a game.
Woodside again, crawling. Not enough, not nearly enough for a first down, and Minnesota will take over.
I think Sterling Sharp played that last play like it was a walk in the park. I said he plays it like a game. Watch him. He's out here up on top of the screen. He just gets there in time as the ball's snapped. Now he's really going to fire off the line. Watch him here. Like this is the last shot out of the Roman candle. There's no more. There's no more shots in the candle. The 4th of July is over.
He's getting ready to travel.
I think he may be taking it to the house.
Gannon back to throw again. To Chris Carter. 1 yard pass completion, stopped by Chuck Cecil and Brian Noble. And the clock still runs. Excuse me.
There's another guy who comes to hit, is that Chuck Cecil. I mean, he's been in so many tackles, and he just kind of launches his body into anything that's moving.
Gannon to throw. Leo Lewis will have a Viking first down. Noble again made the stop.
There's Keith Millard. You know, he's after he got hurt and he was recovering, he went back to Seattle. He was staying up there, and the reason he's back here is because his pipes froze up at his house here. He had to come back and get his pipes fixed.
Here's Walker. Down he goes. 2-yard gain. Scott Stevens.
See, he's talking about Pleasanton. That's Pleasanton, California. His roommate, Mike Tomczak, was his roommate. We got a little scuffle out there.
Flags everywhere. Brown and Irwin involved in the scuffle. Robert Brown, who's been around a long time, as has Irwin.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 93 on the defense. The player is ejected from the game. 15 yards. First down.
Yeah, I wonder if he got the penalty before or after he threw his helmet down.
I think before.
Maybe that's the reason he got the penalty. He doesn't play against Irwin. He plays on the other side. lose it. He just doesn't have to play the last 2 minutes, but he looks like he wants to play the last 2 minutes. He still doesn't know why he was thrown out.
Stop the clock with 2 minutes, 2 seconds left. And in 2 more seconds, we'll get the 2-minute warning. He's already gotten his warning.
Well, of course, he's been going all day against Gary Zimmerman. That was what started it. Zimmerman is a very good pass protector, and towards the end of the game, you try and get one more shot all the time.
Gannon for Carter, completed about the 19. Hawk made the stop. 2 minutes left, or a minute 56 to be exact. Left in the regular season. 27-0. Super Bowl 26 is scheduled to be played here at the Metrodome on January 26th, but on January 19th, it'll be a rematch of Super Bowl number 8. Players from the 1974 Minnesota Vikings and Miami Dolphins will take to the gridiron one more time in a flag football game. Back in '74, the game was played at Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. This time the game will be played at the Target Center here in downtown Minneapolis. The Vikings will be looking to avenge that 24-7 loss. Among the players will be there some of the stars of that game that year, mostly on the Miami side. 1st and 10. Gannon, there's that pass they were working on. Incomplete.
We knew they were going to throw that one, didn't we? We just weren't sure when.
Here are some of the players who played for the Vikings. Chuck Foreman, one of the greats. Ed Marinaro, John Gilliam, Ahmad Rashad, Alan Page, Carl Eller. Well, those are some of the greats from Miami. Zonka, Greasy, Little, Mercury Morris, Dick Anderson, and Jake Scott. They're great safety tandem.
Hey, at least with Zonka, he was darn near impossible to tackle, especially on short year. At least they don't have to tackle him. They're playing touch.
Flag. Here's Gannon. In the middle, incomplete.
Look at Gannon run down there. Gannon ran all the way down to the 5-yard line to tell the official that it should have been a penalty. He's doing everything. He's quarterbacking and throwing it. Art Demas, the umpire, told him, get back in the huddle. That was the most excitement that Gannon showed all day. He ran about 20 yards after he threw it. You see your friend Art Demas, he pointed to him, get back in your huddle, he said.
A minute 48 left to play. The stand's almost empty now. Chris Carter in motion, Gannon back to throw it. On 3rd down, he gets Carter at about the 1. That'll be enough for a 1st down. Stopped by Cecil. And again, a little scuffle.
That's the second one we've had on this drive. And as you said, the Vikings haven't been shut out at home since 1962. I think this is what we're talking about now. I think even if they don't get a 1st down, I think somewhere they have to at least kick a field goal to not have a shutout.
A flag on the play.
Number 80 on the offense. 15 yards.
What happened? It was right there after he got up. See, he tried to reach out again, and then he got hit when he was down. He did, but again, it's always that second guy, and that's what Chris Carter's saying. The guy piled on me, but then he got up and he gave the guy the elbow. See, watch him here. He's trying to stretch out again. Boom, he gets hit there. That's the one that makes him mad. So he's going to get up and say, you can't hit me when I'm down. You can't hit me late. He throws the elbow. You see the elbow. Boom, the flag comes out on that one.
And a penalty goes against the Vikings. Brings up 3rd and long. 3rd and 13 at the 17. Gannon to throw it again. Pass is complete to Hassan Jones at about the 9. It'll bring up a 4th down. The Vikings hurry back.
I'll tell you, this is probably Jerry Burns' last coaching decision. But if this is 4th down, I think I would kick a field goal. Of course, I know they've already missed 2. I know they're out of it, but you haven't had a shutout at home since '62. At least that's something. You don't want to go down and say that you were shut out.
I bet you he doesn't know that.
George Blanda taught me that years ago, to always get the first opportunity you get to get 3 points, take it. Because the toughest points in a football game to make are the first one. And of course, somewhere you have to break that ice. Now the game's over, his coaching career's over, the Viking season's over, but I still think you can break that scoring ice with a field goal.
Gannon came over to the sideline. He's gone back now. So they're not going to do what you suggested. It hasn't been a typical year, the all-pro year for Joey Browner, as you said before. And things have just kind of fallen apart for the Vikings.
I think the frustration with Chris Carter all the way down to 1-yard line and that penalty, I think is just typical of the Vikings season.
Packers showing blitz. All of them up on the line. One of them comes clean. A touchdown to Terry Allen. The helmets come flying from the Green Bay sideline. They wanted that shutout.
Still haven't been shut out
since 1962.
Jerry Burns can say, at least I wasn't shut out in my last one.
His last play, other than the extra point, probably will be that touchdown from Gannon to Allen. Reve's extra point is good, so it's 27-7. Tomorrow, don't forget, the NFL Today starts it off. The last word before kickoff at 12:30 Eastern Time with Terry and Greg and Group. The early games tomorrow: Atlanta at Dallas, Detroit at Buffalo. And at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, Washington at Philadelphia and the New Orleans Saints at Phoenix. We'll get a look at some of the people responsible for the direction and production in which they hit John Madden and I. Guided by that group. A minute and 22 seconds left to play. Green Bay leading Minnesota 27-7. Onside kick coming.
Yeah, look at the way they put it down. They don't even, you got to get it. You don't get it standing straight up. You put it sideways when you're going to kick an onside kick now. And I guess he's going to kick it over to this side, huh, where all the guys are. What's the end of the season? Give up, kick it to the other side.
Affelhoff recovers it for the Packers.
Sterling Sharp was in there on that team. I thought that last play where he just got out there in time, lined up, got out there, I thought that was going to be his last play in the season.
He thought so too.
Yeah, the next thing he knows, they score a touchdown. He's on the onside kick team, and now he has another play to play. And he's not going to get his 55 yards.
No. He needs 39 yards.
And they're going to do this kneel down thing. He said that he will make his decision before Christmas time. So whatever the decision of Lindy Infante and his staff is will be made in the next couple of days. As Lindy said yesterday, the worst fear you can have is the fear of the unknown, and that's what he and his staff are living through.
Down to 45 seconds left on the clock now. So this could be the end of the regular season with that play. And is. The end of a coaching career for Jerry Burns. 41 years he's been in this business.
I think I probably did it more than you did, but I know you would like to go down there. Good luck.
John Madden, this is Pat Summerall saying so long from the Metrodome, where the final score was Green Bay 27, Minnesota 7. Tomorrow on CBS, 4 big games. In the early games, 4 teams going to the playoffs. The Atlanta Falcons take on the Dallas Cowboys, and the Detroit Lions go up against the Buffalo Bills. In the late games, see either the Washington Redskins travel to Philadelphia to play the Eagles, or the New Orleans Saints battle the Phoenix Cardinals. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today, the last word before kickoff. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League. And to you, from both of us, a very, very Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.